Welcome back to This Is Real. In this video, I'll be talking about the Timesplitters franchise as well as its future beyond 2020. The Timesplitters series is a first-person shooter series which remains a cult classic among the 6th generation of consoles. Developed by Free Radical Design, which are co-founded by people who work on the legendary GoldenEye 007 at Rareware, the later game will go on to revolutionize the first-person shooter genre on consoles in the late 90s, as well as being the go-to split-screen multiplayer in that generation. The original Timesplitters was a launch title for the incredibly successful PS2, which it managed to garner critical acclaim. The series will go on to have two sequels titled Timesplitters 2 and Timesplitters Future Perfect. The trilogy was known for its goofy, wacky sense of humor, local couch split-screen multiplayer, as well as the massive tons of content included in the game. It was the dawn of the 7th generation of consoles. Rumors of Timesplitters 4 was surfacing around 2007-ish. However, the next title, Haze, was a commercial failure which inevitably led to the company's filing for bankruptcy. Crytek ended up acquiring Free Radical Design and whatever remains of the Timesplitters IP. Crytek has expressed interest in the Timesplitters IP, however they never really supported the development of another game in the illustrious franchise. And that period of turmoil was the crowdfunding phase, which led to many petitions regarding the Timesplitters IP. However, it all eventually led to nothing on the side of Crytek. In 2013, a team of fans decided to work on a new fan game titled Timesplitters Rewind. We'll get into that later. In 2018, THQ has acquired the Timesplitters IP. They have also brought back Steve Ellis to help aid in the future planning of the series. That will end the recap. If you couldn't tell, I love this franchise a lot. I had so many fun memories playing Future Perfect with my group of friends. You can still see two of the oldest videos uploaded here on this channel, featuring my good friend Harry and I playing said game. I will often describe Timesplitters as the Smash Bros of first-person shooters. The amount of customization in the game modes and characters, with the over-the-top presentation, always make each gaming session very chaotic and fun. Let's carry on with the agenda. Firstly, my thoughts on Rewind. If there's one word I can use to describe this fan project, it's disaster. From the start of the fan project, the scope of the project was simply way too ambitious. The game was slated to be released containing content found in all three games in trilogy, while also aiming for a triple/AA presentation standard with a development team of people from around the world working for free in their free time. Effectively, it has less resources than an indie studio. Throughout the years, many things will continue to plague Cinder. Many slip-outs such as the terrible trailer, missed release date, and a lack of updates has seriously made me lose hope for the project. Of course, it's easy for me to sit here comfortably and criticize every misstep Cinder made, but if there's one singular thing I have to give them, it's their unrelenting devotion to the project after so many goddamn years. They have stuck true to the project. I'm pretty sure they must have gone through many behind the scenes troubles. In these recent times, the project really seems to have picked up a lot more. Their new updates have been on point. They have also stated that they'll be releasing in smaller phases, which will hopefully means a quicker turnover. We fans can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Speaking of light at the end of the tunnel, THQ Nordic has truly shined new hope into fans like myself. THQ Nordic is almost 99% working on releasing Timesplitters content soon. Many fans like myself think the logical first step should be releasing the original trilogy in some sort of a HD treatment. It doesn't have to be a full-scale remake, because honestly the style of 2 and Future Perfect still looks pretty decent to this day. What this re-release will do is get the conversation going around the IP. However, there's still concern that maybe the reception of the new games might not be as high as we loyal fans think it's gonna be. Honestly, the brand power associated with the Timesplitters IP has really diminished under the hands of Crytek UK. This makes me have a very bad feeling that these releases won't sell as well. This is where I'd like to bring back the Rewind project. Having Rewind as a free-to-play game is an ingenious way to revive the IP. As the Rewind team has stated many times now, Timesplitters Rewind will be completely free with no strings attached. If you have watched my retrospective of Ocarina of Time, you know my opinions on free-to-play games. I don't like them at all. And having such a quality game without the pitfalls and shortcomings of traditional free-to-play titles, I can totally see many people gravitating to this game. Timesplitters to me has always been more of a chaotic party game with tons of game modes than a very serious rank-based war FPS thing. And in this climate today, I believe it will do well. Imagine the headlines of this game has gaming news publication covers it. An IP that has a long-standing historical legacy, a game that has struggled through many behind-the-scenes trials and tribulation. As stated earlier, Cinder has dropped the ball in terms of updates and content creation in the past, but the slow improvements have me very excited about the future. Will we get a full-fledged documentary series on the release of this project? Well, the few evidence that I managed to scrape so far seems to suggest at least one documentary. And when a documentary of this project is inevitably published, I believe everything will come together beautifully. This is where I'd like to cite the Melee documentary, which was an extremely pivotal moment that truly brought more people, including a 16-year-old me, into competitive Smash. Said documentary contained many insights to the humble grassroots beginnings, as well as highlighting the important figures and players who play an important part in solidifying the culture that we continue to love to this day. The impact of this documentary cannot be understated. Of course, to create such a high quality documentary also demanded a higher budget, and I'm not expecting the same quality from the Rewind team. Curiously, the Smash Brothers documentary has its funding through Kickstarter. I wonder if that could be an option Cinder might pursue, even though they have repeatedly said no. Anyway, let's say all the timing was just perfect. The documentary, Timesplitters Rewind are both received well. Now with a bigger and more loyal fanbase, THQ Nordic have another option in the form of crowdfunding, or at the very least, the IP will be a lot more tantalizing for publishers to support a Timesplitters 4. Anyway, just for fun, let's go through some of the more special publishers / partnerships that can take place. Firstly, let's talk about the Epic Games Store partnership. What if EGS pays THQ Nordic a large sum of money for the original trilogy HD remake to be free for a while? They have done it with Darksiders before, which makes this deal quite likely in my opinion, especially if they want to hype up the release of Timesplitters 4. Secondly, we have Nintendo exclusivity deals. They share a lot of history together. As stated earlier, Nintendo used to have Rare to bolster their first / second party lineup. And to a lot of people, Timesplitters is a spiritual sequel to GoldenEye 007 and Perfect Dark. And Nintendo is still the king of local couch multiplayer. And even though Timesplitters series is a mature game and it's not really family friendly, it still has the party game vibe that fits Nintendo image. To this day, Nintendo still does not have a standalone FPS IP. The closest they have ventured so far is Splatoon. And lastly, I think having Cortez for Smash could be cool. The third theory is a Sony time exclusivity deals. As stated earlier, they also shared multiple history with Timesplitters, as the original Timesplitters is a launch title for the PS2. And honestly, Sony has a FPS IP in terms of Killzone, however it's so much more different than Timesplitters, it wouldn't cannibalize sales on that front. Sony is known to be the king of high-budget single-player mature narrative games. However, having Timesplitters in its lineup will help to bolster the multiplayer aspect of its lineup. And I think it will be very cool to have Sergeant Cortez for PlayStation All-Star 2 when it come out. Next up, we have Microsoft Xbox exclusivity on the Game Pass and stuff. They also shared multiple history together with Microsoft, as Microsoft now owns Rareware. So yeah, they have also been acquiring many new studios and IPs. But the only problem I see is Halo Infinite, as Halo Infinite will be a live service game which I think will cannibalize the sales, as Halo Infinite will be free multiplayer. And that makes it very unlikely that they want to support another FPS IP. And just for fun, let's talk about Google Stadia, as right now Google Stadia desperately needs any exclusivity. At the moment, they have nothing. And Google Stadia also stated a lot of times that multiplayer is part of their focus in terms of split screen shenanigans that they can pull off only on Google Stadia platform.
Start to push the boundaries of current hardware, rendering 2 or more scenes simultaneously becomes too resource intensive. And so split-screen couch co-op has been fading from gaming. But when all of your clients are in the cloud, couch multiplayer has new life again through Stadia in what we're calling Stream Connect.
So having a cult classic like Timesplitters will will help to bolster the aspect of that multiplayer that Google Stadia is desperately looking to fill. However, the only problem I see is FPS on a streaming platform usually does not write well for the gameplay. So I wonder how Google Stadia can help to minimize the latency and stuff. It would be cool to have it though, but it's very unlikely as Google Stadia has not been doing well. Alright guys, I'm very tired from all this theory crafting, so let me know in the comment section below where do you think the Timesplitters series will be in the foreseeable future. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so yeah, help me out. Do follow the official Timesplitters Rewind team here on YouTube. Share some love to them, and maybe your help is just what they need in the development of Rewind. If you want to feel cringe, you can actually watch the 15-year-old me play Timesplitters with my friend here. Thank you guys so much, so long, so